welcome to the garden. It is a crazy day, very windy. We're getting ready to have a whole bunch of storms, get more rain, so I want to hurry up and get into the garden and do a few things, bring you along. And today is kind of going to be, we're just going to kind of float by the seat of our pants, and I'm just going to talk to you about a bunch of stuff. And I think you're going to get maybe 3 or 4 really awesome nuggets, so stay tuned. So you guys might be able to hear in the background, Doug is cutting the grass again because all this rain, you know how it is in the spring, you just keep cutting the grass and cutting the grass and cutting the grass. So I guess that's a good thing that we do have rain. I am really moving very slowly because we've had very cool temperatures. I mean, if we had, you know, it was like 40 degrees just the other day, and things are kind of going slow. So I've been really slow with the tomatoes. I put a few out, they look kind of cold. But what I've done here is, I guess quite a few years ago, I started growing tomatillos. So this is a tomatillo. And that's a Mexican husk tomato. So if you're similar to a ground cherry, how they have the papery husk around it, and then you're gonna have the fruit inside of it. So the tomato is inside of it. And a tomatillo, if you've never seen or don't even know what I'm talking about, it's sort of like it's a very dense, it's not very juicy, but it's like a green tomato. And if you're familiar with like salsa verde, the green salsa, that's what you're gonna get with these guys. So I love the salsa verde, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna try growing some of these. So I grew like 5 of them. And it was funny because, you know, if you grow your tomatoes, you know, you get a lot of tomatoes. Well, these guys are so prolific. I was like, oh my goodness, I had so many tomatillos, I did not know what to do. I couldn't even give enough of them away. So then I cut it back down, and you definitely, when you are growing these, I haven't finished planting them, they need a partner. So then they need 2 so that they'll bear fruit. So you need 2 if you're gonna grow them. Don't just grow 1. But these things are amazing because they're very hardy. They don't need much fertilizer or anything. Definitely you do not want to feed them nitrogen, because what'll happen is you're going to get a really big bushy plant, but you're not going to get any fruit. So it's good because you don't have to babysit them that much. They don't get blight like a regular tomato does. They're a lot more tolerant. They're much more drought tolerant. I really enjoy growing these. So generally every year I only grow 2 of them together because you're going to get tons and tons of tomatillos, and it will go all summer long. So they'll just keep producing and producing and producing, and when they're ready, that papery husk is going to turn like a brown or like a tan kind of color, and then it'll kind of start to rip open, and then you know that they're ready, and then you can harvest them, and then you can make salsa verde too. So now we're going to come and bounce over here, and I want to show you, this is my solution to like preventing some weeds in my raised beds. And I want you to come down here a little closer. I want you to look at this stuff here. See all this? As you can see, I have lots of different greens. I have some pak choi here, some kale, some spinach, here's some beets, I have some Swiss chard, some lettuce, some romaine, I have some chives. So all this stuff is growing together with this ground cover that you see, and that ground cover is called purslane. And purslane, if you guys have been watching the channel for a long time, you guys know that I like adore it. And you know, you hear a lot of people talk about superfoods. Well, purslane definitely is a superfood. It is a superfood because it is the highest in the greens that you can get in omega-3 fatty acids. And normally you hear about those, you're gonna get them in your meats and your fishes, your eggs, you know, your pasture-raised eggs. Well, it's in plant form. So if you're a vegan, you should definitely be looking into purslane. So it's high in your omega-3s as well as vitamin A. And most of us are low in vitamin A. And out of all the leafy greens, it's like the top. So it's good for your skin, it's good for your hair, it's good for your eyesight, especially your eyesight, and it's good for your mucous membrane. So if you're suffering from asthma, you know, or have a lot of sinus problems, it can be very beneficial to get that good vitamin A. And it's a leafy green, and it's sort of like a succulent tasting. It's kind of squishy, juicy, citrusy flavor. It has little yellow flowers. It is a delicious plant in salads. I like to just pick it and eat it because it's very refreshing. I know some people do saute it. I prefer not to do that. I want to keep all the nutrients intact. But what I do is I ferment it. It makes a wonderful ferment. And the great thing about it is I have all my plants grow and it just spreads. It's a low spreader. And it's not going to affect my plants at all. It's just they can grow around it and everyone's really happy. Many years ago, I had gone to a friend's house and she had a beautiful purslane plant. She's like, get these darn things out of here. And I'm like, you don't know what you got there. And so I had taken one and I went and put it in one of our first raised beds here. And they have very tiny, tiny seeds. And basically what's going to happen is I just let it reseed itself every year because it is an annual, but it'll reseed itself. So then, like this bed, the whole thing is filled with the purslane. And so you want to be careful. I wouldn't just maybe, unless you want it all over the place, it will spread. So if you don't have it in a contained area, you're going to get it other places too. So be aware of that. So if you have a raised bed or something, you can do it that way. And then that way I can pick off of it and eat on it, you know, most of the summer. Now I'm kind of excited because some of them are starting to get bigger. See how they are? And they will develop a very beautiful yellow flower. It's all edible. They're delicious, really mild. It has like a, you know, kind of a little, maybe citrusy, salty kind of taste, but it's great in salads. Great, great, great. You could even make a whole salad just with the purslane. So now I'm over here because I'm into easy gardening. So what I like to do is things pop up, Mother Nature happens, seeds fall and they grow somewhere, and then once they grow, I'll pluck them out and put them somewhere else. But what I had here is I had some of those, you know, mammoth sunflowers, the giant sunflowers, and I just let them reseed. I let a lot of them, you know, over winter, let the birds eat them. So look at these. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. So I have 4 of these beautiful sunflowers, and they're going to produce a very great, you know, a big stalk. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to let them stay here. And so they're starting to grow. They're growing very nicely. And what I'm going to do is I planted a bunch of cucumbers. So my cucumbers are in here. Can't see them yet. They haven't popped up quite yet. But what I'm going to do is use this as a trellis, because before I was going to put my cucumbers here and just put a regular trellis here. But I thought, you know what? My beautiful sunflowers are already here. I'm not going to mess with them. I'm just going to let them go, and I'm going to let my cucumbers vine up these sunflowers, and then they'll have a great way that they can hang out, get a little shade from the sunflowers as they get bigger, and then I can just stand there and just pick them right off the vine. Getting a little windy, and what I wanted to do is I want to plant some plants out there, and I wanted to show you. See this plant? Does anyone know what it is? 5 seconds, can you guess? Anybody know? When you first look at it, it just kind of looks like a weed that you might see in the yard. But I'll give you a hint. This plant is 200 times sweeter than sugar. Did you get it? It's stevia. Very, very, very sweet. I mean, it's crazy. So this plant, stevia, it's sort of like a 0-calorie type sweetener. It's like sugar, and it's basically 200 times sweeter than sugar, and it won't raise your insulin levels. So I love stevia, and I like to grow it. I even try to overwinter it every year. It is a little tricky to grow, because when you do grow it, if you're growing it, it's kind of persnickety. Our friend Gary, he grew a bunch of these for me, so thank you, Gary, so much. And he did a really good job. His germination rate, I think he said it was like 60%, because you have to plant a bunch of seeds, and a lot of times they may not germinate. And he definitely used a hot mat, you know, underneath it, a heating pad thing for the seeds to help them germinate, but he got quite a few. And these things get very, very big, and you'll only need, you know, a few plants, and then that way you'll have enough of it once you dry it out and grind it up. You'll have stevia that will last you a very, very long time, because you're just going to need to put a little in because it is so sweet. You don't need as much as you would like using sugar. So what I'm going to do is plant some of these out today in some of my beds. And then also I like to put it in big pots, and then I'll take it inside and overwinter it. And then that's the plant I usually use for like my insurance plant, just in case. Because I know this year it's really hard. A lot of people are having trouble finding it. So if you do decide to grow the stevia yourself, make sure that you do plant a bunch of plants. It likes the temperatures in the ground to be very warm because it's more of a tropical type plant. But if you're wanting a good alternative, green stevia is where it's at because it's so simple to grow. Just dry the leaves. You can just hang them up and then just dry off the leaves, crumble them up, put them in a jar, and then there you go. Put it with your tea. Your chocolate tea from Doug and Stacy, right? So I'm gonna take, I think, 3 of these plants right now, and I'm gonna plant. And then, before we go, since I'm in here, for some of you guys have been paying attention, at the end of the season, I like to do things very simple. So what I do with my plants, so this was part of a holy basil plant. I just will take off this, you know, a big hunk, and then I'll just hang it to dry. And then usually, like, I think this was in the house somewhere, but I just hang them in here. A lot of times I'll hang them in here, and then when I'm ready, I'll use the seeds. So basil is a very warm weather plant. It's been cooler here, so I think it's time that I'm gonna start planting it. So I'm just gonna put some of them in here. They shouldn't take long to grow, and all I do is get my seeds, and I'm just gonna sprinkle them in there because I have lots of them to use. And I'm just gonna water it, and then I'm gonna have some holy basil pop up soon. And let me show you one more thing in here. Look at these little guys. Aren't they cute? These are hot pepper plants, but they're not that hot. We were at the Home Centers of America last year, and a really nice family gave us some of these peppers. I think they're called, let me remember, Annabelle's Finquita. And she was telling me how they're really good because you can eat them with so much because they're not really spicy, but they give you that nice spice that you want for a lot of meals. So Gary, again, he planted some. Aren't they beautiful? Look how beautiful they are. So he did it at his house for me again. And so I'm gonna plant some of these out too because the peppers don't like it very cold either. So I gotta get more peppers out. So I'm gonna plant some of those. And then I got quite a few other things that I need to still get out. Slowly but surely I'll get there. Just as long as I can do it by the end of May, I'll be good. So let's get going. We're gonna go out and plant my stevia. I always enjoy gardening with my worm friends. They help so much when I'm doing my gardening. So I've noticed when I've been planting my stevia that they like to be together. They grow better in a group. And I usually put them in 3s. 3's their lucky number. I always like to put a little bit of the worm castings in with them. And if you guys didn't see that video, we'll put it up there. So check out that video too. So I know we've been having some interesting weather. How about you guys? Are you able to get in the garden? I know all the farmers around here, they cannot get in the gardens whatsoever. I can't even believe it's almost the end of May. And no one's got anything planted in the fields at all. But luckily here, it's so funny to talk to a lot of the people around here because a lot of people still grow in the ground with their gardens, and most people can't have their gardens. They don't have their gardens in because it's been too wet. And not with a raised bed, because they drain wonderfully. Yay, we have stevia. I'll have a lot of stevia this year. Just got to remember to water those too. So now I'm back in the greenhouse, so I have to remember to water my holy basil. And I want to talk to you a little bit about holy basil. If you haven't been growing it, might be something you might want to look into growing. Is a holy basil is what they call a nervine because it helps your nervous system. So maybe at the end of the day, or you've had a very stressful day, it might be something that you can make a cup of tea, grow it yourself. You could put the fresh leaves in, you know, with some boiling water after it's cooled down a little bit, and let it steep, and then you can have it like that. Or you could let your things dry, just like I do over here. Just let your big clump of it dry, and then once it gets crunchy, then you can go ahead and grumble up, put it in a mason jar, and you'll have some beautiful holy basil tea. But it has a very unique flavor. I love it in my fire ciders. It tastes amazing, it smells amazing, and it grows into this big, beautiful like bush. And it's unlike like a regular sweet basil where it would keep going and going to seed. It will seed the whole summer, and it's wonderful for pollinators, and they're all over the place. You can walk into the garden and you just rub your hands over it, and it just smells just magnificent. So I love it. So I grow a lot of the holy basil, and actually I'm going to grow some of these and put it next to the stevia that I just got done planting. So I need to remember to water this now. And then I want to show you something else. I have lots. It's like show and tell today, Stacy's show and tell. So come over here and look. That's what you call more of my lazy gardening. So I had some of my seeds that I have hanging here. They fell down, and I had some dirt, a pot fell over, and some of the dirt was on the ground, so that they seeded themselves and they grew all by themselves. So I'm not going to keep these and just let them go to waste. So watch what I'm going to do with them now. They pull out very easily, just like this. Okay, and we're going to go put them in the garden because they're a great companion plant in the garden to help deter pests. And if you guys have been watching, the flour is amazing. I use it in all my salads, or put them on tacos, or they're great as a topper. So let's go plant them. So over here is my little pepper palace. So I have a variety of peppers here. And so all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put them sort of like, it'll be like their wall. So I'm gonna do a little wall of marigolds. Just like that. And the thing about marigolds, if you guys don't grow marigolds, they are so hardy, and at the end of the season, they're so beautiful when it's time for apple season and you have all the mums and all the beautiful fall colors. They look great, and they're big and bushy, so I really like these. They last a long time, and I'm into easy, so I really, really enjoy using these marigolds because they grow very easy. And now while I'm over here, the stevia needs its own little marigold plant too. So we'll stick this over here. And then we'll water it. Grow, stevia, grow. Big and beautiful. All done. So I think it's time for lunch now. I had to get my basket to put our greens in for lunch. And this, what about this? I found this, I got this at a resale shop, maybe for like $7, and it's a really nice one. Leather handle. So let's use it. All right, so need a little chives, get that oniony flavor. And maybe, I probably can get some purslane. I might as well try it. There's some big pieces over here. Here we go. Get some leaves of the romaine, and then we'll come over here. So my salads are everything but the kitchen sink. So I just put everything in them that you can imagine. So right here I have a few of my radishes that are getting kind of big. So I'm gonna use the greens. Did you know radish greens are probably one of the healthiest greens you could eat? And they taste really good in a salad. So eat your radish greens. Because you know when you mix up all this stuff, because maybe you'll taste it and it's like, ooh, it doesn't taste good. When you mix it all up with a little salad dressing, maybe put a little cheese on it, Put some other vegetables in there. It tastes amazing. Then I'll do some of my red romaine. And remember, when you have a lot of the produce that you can grow that has this purple pigment, you know, there's purple carrots and there's purple cauliflower and there's purple tomatoes, you're gonna get those anthocyanins. So you're gonna get it like a little bit more of a super antioxidant, or like the red onions, a little bit more than the yellow. They're all healthy, but you're gonna just get a little bit more. So I really have enjoyed, I started growing this year, and I love it, and I'm gonna definitely grow it from now on. Then I let the lamb's quarter, I let it go in my beds. So I wanna use it now because when it gets to be a little too tall, it's gonna taste a little tough and it won't be as good in the salad. So early in the season, I definitely like to use it. And then I'll do some of my borage here. The leaves, they call it cucumber lettuce. So I'm gonna use this because it tastes just like a cucumber, but it's lettuce. And then I have some dill. So I'll put some dill in there too. You gotta have herbs with every salad, that's my rule. And I'll have more than one type. So we'll have some dill in our salad. And let's see, how about some beet greens? Come on over. And then how about some parsley? Nice hunk of parsley. These fresh greens are so nutrient dense. You know, people have so many like vitamin and mineral deficiencies. If you start eating a lot of these leafy greens, they got everything you could ever imagine to help you with your health. So here's my salad. Oh, one more thing. I got a dandelion in here. We'll have the flower and we'll do the leaves too. Okay? Now, let's go have lunch. So a lot of people are like, what do I do with all this stuff when I grow it? So I'm gonna show you how quick and easy this is. I just get it all, I just rinse it off, patted it dry, and now I just get it into big clumps and I'm gonna chop it up. I can't live without my scissors, so I chop everything up. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're gonna eat this for lunch. Watch.
You actually eat those.
You eat them all the time. You didn't know that? They're in your salads every night we have our meal.
Oh yeah.
And the one thing that I like about chopping the salad like this is you usually end up eating more because it kind of condenses it a little bit. And for some of you guys, the stem, all that is still good. That's a stem to the lamb's quarter. It still tastes great. Cut it all up in there. You don't need just to do the leaves. Just cut them up littler. All right, so that's that. And then I'm gonna add some sprouted pumpkin seeds. So if you guys, whatever, you know, seeds that you like, if you like sunflower seeds or you like some pecans, whatever you want. And here's some feta, some sheep feta. So no one should be using any store-bought dressing, salad dressing, because you have this beautiful salad you grew in your garden. Those oils are not good because they use soybean oil in them. And majority of soybean oil, they're very highly processed and they are definitely GMO'd. So, and the thing with the salad dressings, you know, they're on the shelves a long time. Those oils go rancid. So I like to make my own. A nice, good organic olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. It's always 2 parts of your extra virgin olive oil to 1 part raw apple cider vinegar. And to 1 part pure maple syrup, or you can use raw honey. That's it. No preservatives in there, no high fructose corn syrup in there, no bad oils. And then all I do is put a little on my salad like that, and I'm gonna mix it up. So I think what I'm gonna do with this is I just made some sourdough rolls with some einkorn flour. So Doug and I might have each a salad with a roll, einkorn sourdough roll, maybe with a can of sardines. See how it tastes. Perfect. Okay. You guys have a good day. I will look forward to seeing you real soon. Use up your greens. Make your own salad dressing. I can't wait to see you later. Bye.